And that was our theme song. For those that don't know that theme song, do you know what that theme song is, Colin? You're new.
I'm still new.
Yeah. I mean, we're only 11 episodes in, I think.
Oh, that's a good point.
This is
That's
episode
the
11.
that's the network special podcast official theme music.
But I mean, do you know what it's from?
I thought that was going to be good enough. I've always thought it was from some sort of 80s special news report or afternoon, TV, like after school special or something like that.
So you know our logo, right?
Yes, love it.
And do you recognize what that is referencing?
A PBS program?
No. Okay.
Yeah, like this just it's evocative of that 80s, that 70s, like the moving like title icon kind of. I mean, everything looked like that in the 80s, didn't it? That thing with like the trail, it's got like the "Did I just do acid on accident?" like trail of colors behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but there's a very specific. It's CBS is the it used that a CBS special presentation, and it would have that the word special would kind of glow, like rub in, like you're talking about with those trails.
Yeah.
And then it would play that music. But the song is from like Hawaii 5-0 or something.
Oh, see, I always thought maybe you and Zachariah like had that just created, or maybe you did it in GarageBand or something, just to be evoking the period.
You're right.
I was giving you too much credit for creativity. You just stole it.
Well, no, during season 1, we did have a live band play it every single time.
That's not true.
a huge, like, 30-piece orchestra.
You had Reggie Watts in studio every time, and he just did the whole thing with his mouth sounds.
That guy he's that good.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I mean, if you listen to the horns on there, you could really tell he's a little bit more lippy than he usually is.
Yeah, he wasn't sharp on every episode. Some of them he really nails it though.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, I just took the Hawaii 5-0 thing and chopped it up and looped it around and stuff.
So we're gonna get sued eventually.
If this podcast ever gets more than 30 downloads a month, maybe we might get sued.
We're okay then. We're safe.
Yeah.
No concern there.
Speaking of, welcome to this podcast named Network Special. I'm Nathan. I'm here with my co-host
Colin.
And today's episode is a fun one, I think. We're in that little space right after Thanksgiving, right before December, which turns our podcast into Christmas overdrive.
Yeah, basically, what I said to Nathan is, I said I can get on board with week upon week upon week of Christmas things, but I need one thing first that's not Thanksgiving-y, giving-y, and not Christmassy or holiday-y in any way. So. And I am excited because this is the thing we watched for this episode is tied in with something that I really love. So,
well, and I mean, we got to get Christmas stuff out of the way because as soon as we hit like January, then it's going to be President's Day all month long.
You know how the Hallmark Channel just cranks out those President's Day specials, and they're just so good.
So yeah, we're talking about. A movie called Another Midnight Run. That's right.
Another Midnight Run.
And this is really interesting because this is a sequel to a movie. This came out in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a sequel to a movie that came out 6 years earlier?
Yeah, 88, I believe. Yeah.
And it did not go into theaters. It was a TV movie. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it. And it also spawned 2 more sequels as well.
Yeah, it's weird. So Midnight Run is a great movie. Well, a movie I love.
And who's in
my
that?
my dad and I both love it. My mom thinks parts of it are really funny, so I'll quote it with both of them still to this day. It stars Robert De Niro. You heard of him?
Bob. I call him Bobby, but
Bobby De Niro is in it, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and Chucky Grodin, Charles Grodin is
Chuck.
in it.
It's Chuck. It's just Chuck.
Chuck Grodin is in it. Rest in peace. And
Oh, yeah.
he's funny as hell in that movie. I think they're both really funny in it. Dennis Farina's the bad guy. He's funny in it. Joe Pantoliano is
Rest
in
in
it.
peace, right? Rest in peace
I
to
don't
him
think
too, right?
he's dead.
Isn't? I think so.
He's
I don't know.
not dead.
I'm just gonna say rest in peace to
why did you
random people.
why
To
did you just
random
kill
people.
him?
And, hold on. Yeah. No, he totally died.
No, he did not. No, he didn't. Are you serious?
You heard it here first.
Did he die today?
No, he's 71 and kicking.
Oh my God! Is his Wikipedia page been turned to past tense? Joe Pantoliano
I don't know
was
why
an actor.
I don't know why I thought he.
I don't
Is
either.
Dennis Farina alive?
Farina's dead. Dennis
Okay,
Farina's
that's what I
dead.
meant. That's what I meant. Obviously.
Yeah. So he's dead. Yes, he's been dead for quite a bit, probably like almost a decade, I think, at this point. But anyway, so yeah, that movie I love. And then yes, as you said, in 6 years after it came out, this sequel came out. It's called Another Midnight Run, and then there's two other sequels: Midnight Run Around,
Yep.
and Midnight Run for Your Life, if I'm not mistaken. There.
Yep.
And the interesting thing is when you look at them up, they're all listed as having come out in 1994, which I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that's right or not.
So, okay, let me pull it up just to be 100% sure. But there is a name for it called, it's the Midnight Run Action Pack. And
I think that's something they came up with to sell like a DVD with all of them on it. That's what I think.
That's what it sounds like. But it's saying, they're like calling it like the Wikipedia page. There's a Wikipedia page for it.
For the series, yeah.
Called the Midnight Run Action Pack. It was a made-for-TV movie series for Universal Television's Action Pack. So it really it wasn't a DVD set name. It's actually Action Pack was a syndicated programming block. So kind of like ABC Monday Night Movie or something like that, but it's called Action Pack. And I guess you could have just purchased it and then played it on your network or something, because it just says syndication.
Yeah, well, I know it was eventually sold, obviously many years later, on like a box DVD.
Oh, listen to this. So this is great network special like material. In 1994, the Action Pack, there's like a logo for it too, which is awesome. Initially ran as a wheel series. Let's see, wheel series. Wheel format is a television series in which two or more regular programs are rotated in the same time slot. So a most successful example would have been the NBC Mystery Movie. 3 of the shows in rotation, Columbo, McCloud, and McMillan and Wife, were among the most successful. Okay, this is so interesting. Okay, so
those are actually a couple. Columbo was just mentioned to me by my dad the other day because he was asking about the podcast, and he said, "Do you guys do shows that were made for TV, like special kind of things?" And they were so successful that they became an actual show after that. And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. We don't just want to watch."
We would just do the first
garbage. Yeah, and he mentioned Columbo as one of them.
Then that's perfect. So this says that's great. In 1994, the Action Pack initially ran. Okay, so then it says as a series of television movies, which were all effectively pilots, and if successful, they would become TV series.
Yeah, so they're just testing the waters with these.
So this is interesting. The initial plan was for 4 films created from 6 franchises, including Tech War, Smokey and the Bandit, Midnight Run, Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and Vanishing Sun, and the working title Fastlane when offered at programming. Okay, so then This is interesting.
I don't
Does that
understand
mean
where they aired though. Were they all just?
So, so I'm assuming that that's a question I always have. When something is syndicated, does that just mean like it could air on like NBC's like local hour? You know, like local NBC could be like, oh, we're gonna play this stuff, and if you lived in that, if you happen to live in that market, then you saw it. If you lived in a different market, you would see something else.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. That's possible. I mean, my guess is that this probably aired on. I mean, it was the early to mid '90s, so there was cable television around. It was probably like it was probably like USA and TBS, like and that's my guess. Like they need content, they pay for packages of things, and this is one of them, and they can play it.
So initially there would have been 4 of these Midnight Run movies, but they cut them down so that Christopher McDonald could star in a feature film. I wonder what that film was, and was it?
It had to be Happy Gilmore.
And was it Happy Gilmore?
Happy Gilmore came out in '96. Is that right?
There's
Check me on that.
Chance that could have been it. Oh, here we go. Tech War was picked up as a regular TV series for USA instead of Action Pack. Oh, interesting. So this is really, really interesting. I had a lot of questions when I was watching this because I was like, first of all, I'd never really heard of Midnight Run.
Really?
You know, beyond just seeing like the poster and stuff when I've just on my normal internet travels. But so I just thought, oh, this was just like an 80s action movie in the action comedy in the, you know, pantheon of 80s action comedies.
Sure.
I didn't assume that it was a big deal. And then I looked it up and it was like, oh, there's like behind the scenes footage on YouTube. Like they cared about it this much.
People really like this movie. Like, you know, I'm one of them.
And Robert De Niro, like this was, what did he make before this? He made
a lot of stuff.
No, there was like what I was reading about this. Let me just go to Midnight Run so you can. He made.
Are you talking about what he made like directly before it?
So he made after completing the Untouchables. He decided he wanted to star in a comedy, and okay, there's no way you would guess, but he pursued the lead role in a movie, and didn't get it. I want to give you a clue so you can try to get it, and I'm trying to figure out which one to give you. I'll just say
this is a well-known comedy.
This is a well-known comedy.
Okay,
and it is the role went to Tom Hanks instead.
Oh, I was going to get one of the guesses I was going to have was just because of the time period was Forrest Gump.
No,
that's big.
No, this is 1988.
Oh, it was directly after this, after 88. So Big came out.
It's Big.
Yeah, Big came out in like 88,
so
89 maybe.
So
that would have been terrible. Oh my God. Holy shit, that would have been bad.
Right?
Josh
I don't
Baskin
know. I feel
could
like
not be. He couldn't. No, that movie would not have worked at all.
So I want to keep talking about Midnight Run before we jump into that because that's more interesting. But also you have more of a connection to it. But and I think it sets us up to talk about the actual thing we watched. But so Paramount Pictures was originally interested in backing Midnight Run, but they wanted a big name star along with De Niro, not Grodin. So initially they suggested that they make the Charles Grodin character be a woman instead, and it would be Cher.
Ugh.
And then
That's
creator,
my general reaction to that. Ugh.
Yeah.
I would not. No. Mm-mm.
The creator rejected the idea, and then Paramount suggested De Niro team up with Robin Williams, who became eager to be the other person.
Robin Williams?
Yeah. It would have been a completely different movie.
Yeah, that
and
wouldn't have worked either.
And at one point, Bruce Willis was mentioned to star too.
No. I mean, I feel like the cast is like the two of them, De Niro and Charles Grodin, are so. I don't know. I'm interested to hear your viewpoint. It may just be that this movie's too close to my heart. I think they are phenomenal together. And I've thought this movie was more funny the more I've watched it over the years. I've seen it a lot of times, but there's just so many good moments. And Grodin he's very Charles Grodin-y in this. And like De Niro's very De Niro-y. Like, and their personalities just like they rub each other, the wrong way really well. It works really well.
I feel I liked Charles Grodin a lot better than I liked Robert De Niro in this.
Really?
Just because I thought this was part of it. Since I had nothing, I had no information about this when I was watching it. It felt like it really did feel like something I would have accidentally caught on my scrambled HBO, one night just sitting there. And it didn't feel as big as it actually is to me. But Grodin, the more stuff I watch with him, the more it's obvious how insanely talented he is.
He's in another and this is probably cliche at this point. If it's possible to have it be cliche that you like a cult movie, I love the movie Clifford. I love it, and he's hilarious. I mean, Martin Short's hilarious in that, but Charles Grodin is really really funny in it too. And I've not seen a huge number of movies where Grodin is like comedic, but he's funny as hell in both of these. I think
my favorite movie that he's in that is comedic is Real Life.
See, I've never seen that.
Okay, so this movie it's Albert Brooks' first movie, and it's basically like it's the first mockumentary. It seems like I'm sure there might have been something, but it's one of the first mockumentaries, and it's just it was kind of mocking this thing called this thing on PBS where they filmed a family like living their lives, and it was supposed to be like a reality show basically.
Okay.
And so Real Life is Albert Brooks filming his own version of this with Charles Grodin playing this horse veterinarian, and it's just when you have these documentaries, the documentarian is never supposed to put himself into the movie. They're never supposed to like but Albert Brooks can't help himself, and he's always interfering in the movie and always trying to make it more Oscar worthy or whatever. And it's out of control. It's so good. And I think I got into Albert Brooks at some point just randomly for some reason. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think I must have caught something that he was in, and I was like, oh man, I need to watch more of his stuff. And then I found that on DVD when I was like collecting DVDs.
Yeah.
And I watched that movie and I was like, oh man, this is the freaking movie.
I got into him because my parents liked the movie Lost in America. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, I love that movie. It's so
yeah.
good.
So I watched that when I was a kid and I thought it was really funny, even though it's not really a movie for kids. It's like a lot of stuff probably went over my head at that point, but
yeah.
And I've watched it since. Yeah, I have not seen that the
Real Life.
Real Life. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to find the name of it in my head again. Yeah, I want to check that out because
it's great.
Charles Grodin is probably one of those people I need to go back and I'm going to watch more of the stuff he was in because he is, but he's really funny in that. Didn't you think do any moments from this movie stand out to you? Because I could tell you a bunch of scenes that I think he's really funny in.
So at this point in time in the show, I want to start comparing the two, right?
Yeah.
And I think because so let me just set that up and then we'll talk.
Sure,
then I'll bring
absolutely.
Back to, so basically, Another Midnight Run, it's essentially the same scenario. In the Midnight Run, Robert De Niro's character Jack Walsh is a bounty hunter, and he works with this bail bondsman, and he played by Joey. Rest in peace. God rest his soul. Pantaleone.
Gone too soon, Joey. Maybe you were thinking of the fact that Tony Soprano murdered him.
Yeah, that's what it was. I confuse
Spoiler
that with
alert.
real life sometimes. And so he's the bail bondsman, and he is always posting bail for these big targets, and then they skip bail, and so he hires Jack Walsh.
Yeah.
Jack Walsh to pick them up to make the money, and Jack Walsh is always on his last legs and needs money for some reason, right? In the first one, he wants the money to open up a coffee shop. In this one, he just wants to pay off his American Express or something. I don't know. The stakes are a little bit lower on this one.
In the first one, he's a much more interesting character because he's an ex-cop. And you find out throughout the course of the first one that he was basically run out of police work by this mobster named Jonathan Mardukas. And, Jonathan Mardukas that's Grodin's character. But he's run out of, I think it's Chicago. He was a cop in Chicago. And he's run out of the city basically by this mobster who basically has like paid off and taken over. All the cops are like working for him, and he wouldn't take money from this mobster. And so he basically was like forced out. And I think they set him up to make it look like he did something. I can't remember. So he's an interesting character because he's like
planted heroin in his house.
Yeah. Like he has like, a backstory. He has motivation. You understand why he's in this job and why he's like low on money and all this stuff. He's got a daughter you find out that he hasn't talked to in years, like all this stuff. In this one, the character's played by Chris McDonald. Like you don't know anything about him other than they send him on a blind date in the very first like 3 minutes of the movie with this woman who clearly like is not impressed with him, and then his credit card gets declined as he tries to pay for the meal.
So he's
pathetic in this movie. I don't think he's not pathetic in the original one.
But that is literally the setup for the rest of the movie, is that he has to pay some bills.
Yeah, it's terrible.
To give this movie, and I haven't seen the other two yet. But to give this movie a break, to give this movie just a little bit of a break, I'm going to pretend that this happened before the original Midnight Run.
It would have to be, because Midnight Run ends in a really satisfying way that if people listening to this, any of the 30 listening to this, haven't seen Midnight Run, I strongly recommend watching it. So I won't give away the ending, but it ends in a way that's finite, so that what he's trying to do, he's trying to get out of being he doesn't like being a bounty hunter. So he's trying to earn enough money to get out of that life, and it ends in a way that's good for him. So then this one rolls around, and he's like a bounty hunter again. So I'm like, this cannot take place afterwards. This has to be a prequel, or it has to be kind of like recently we watched The Jerk 2, and that didn't seem to exist in the same galaxy that The Jerk did. Like,
that was purposeful, that's what, right?
Yeah.
This feels like no, they just didn't do a good job of writing it.
Yeah. We need some action block movie, whatever you called it before, action-packed movies.
Action-packed. The person that plays the Robert De Niro character is Christopher McDonald, who is
who eats pieces
Shooter
of shit
McGavin
for breakfast.
Yeah, Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore. And so I'm not convinced that he's a good stand-in for De Niro.
He's not.
He does have a tiny bit of an extra New York accent in this, which
it comes and goes. And it's funny. Yeah. There's a scene in the first one where De Niro is taking Grodin to the airport because he's trying to fly him back across the country to turn him in. And he tells him, hey, I have to check my gun when we get on this plane, but like, if you mess with me, I'm going to stab you through the fuck. Like, he says something, and it's De Niro. So he sounds very like, oh God, I wouldn't want to mess with that guy. And he doesn't
sound like a Chicago guy.
Right, but
He's very New Yorky.
But he sounds like, and I have clips of these two to compare them if you want me to play them for you. And then Christopher McDonald, his accent is not there a lot of the time. And when it is, it's like kind of when he's trying to sound intimidating, I think. And it's so not intimidating. And plus, it's because it's a TV movie. He can't say like, "I'll stab you through the fucking face" or whatever.
He's like,
so here's
like, if you guys don't shut up back there, I'm gonna stab you in the fucking face.
Here's De Niro in the original one. You ready?
I can't keep you cuffed on a commercial flight, and I gotta check my gun with my luggage. But you fuck with me once, and I'm gonna break your neck.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta check my gun. You messed with me. I'm gonna break your fucking He sounds intimidating. This is Christopher McDonald.
All right, now look, I gotta check my gun before we fly. But I won't think twice about belting either one of you if I have to. You got that?
All right, I gotta check my gun when we fly. But you mess with me, I won't think twice about belting either one of yous. It's like, and he doesn't talk like that most of the movie. He's just kind of Shooter McGavin-y most of the movie. So I'm like,
no, he's just
terrible.
wherever that guy's from.
Is he in anything? What else is he in? I was thinking about him.
I've seen him in things
other stuff, but I can't think of what it is.
I looked it up, and I'm not going to do it right now because that would be a very boring.
Yeah,
research,
you never do that.
I hate doing that. So that's the alternate Jack Walsh. Now there's an alternate Joey Pants.
Yes, and they picked an actor that kind of closely approximates the way Joe Pantaleone, Joey acts in the first one, which is just kind of like, "Hey, we gotta get over there and get it." He's just like yell, everything's urgent and screamed and angry.
And it's Dan Hedaya who, when I say that name, unless you just happen to know, character actor,
I think people know him,
really
don't
well.
you think?
I mean, maybe they do. If you said Dan Hedaya, I wouldn't know. But if you told me what he was in, I would know.
Like he's Cher's dad in Clueless. Great. And he's like, "Cher, get over there." And in this, he's like, "Hey, bounty hunter, we gotta get over there." Like it's the same. Yeah. It's just that exact same kind of thing. Like he's pissed and ranting at people.
And the other thing is the other reason why I say that this is in the middle and not this is before Midnight Run is because there's a guy who answers the phone for Joey Pants' character, and that guy in Midnight Run, he's like on the side, he's like sabotaging the bounty hunter because he's trying to make money from these gangsters.
Yeah, he's on the take from Jimmy Serrano, which is the mobster.
Yeah, in the move, I feel like that doesn't resolve itself in Midnight Run.
I think doesn't he get arrested at the end?
I don't know.
I think he does, but maybe I'm making that up.
Yeah, because they're tapping the phone or whatever.
Yeah.
But in this, he's still there. So I'm gonna say that this is before Midnight Run.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we'll put it before Midnight Run. I'm guessing the people that wrote it didn't consider or give a shit.
And we'll at the end of the show we'll spend another hour trying to figure out if it's before or after that. But just so hold your horses. I know you're really anxious to keep hearing that conversation. But so
it's for the people that donate to the Patreon. They get access to us bitching about it for 20 more minutes.
Yep.
There's no Patreon. I'm just joking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can send in money, but it won't go to. Yeah.
They won't get anything for it. They won't get added features or anything.
No. So then, okay. Then they do have to have a kind of Charles Grodin-esque kind of actor, and let me tell you. So, because he's bringing in these two criminals, right? Just because he's a bounty hunter, and they choose Jeffrey Tambor is one of them, and it is so interesting. So Charles Grodin's character and Robert De Niro's character, like Robert De Niro's the hard cracking, like, oh, I drink milk from the milk carton, like that's empty kind of like ex-cop kind of guy. And then
that's your hold on. That's your example of like a well-worn, like, beaten up, like weathered cop as he drinks milk from the
Yeah,
carton.
they every morning they wake up, they go to the fridge, they pull out the milk carton, they smell
They
it,
smell it. Their face goes like, ugh, like,
and they still
they're
drink
like,
it. And then when they
whatever.
drink it, they realize that they actually didn't have any. So
Yeah.
then it's like, so then they have to like, you know,
like, I'm getting too old for this.
yeah, exactly. So that's a common. So anyways, so Jack Walsh is that, but then Charles Grodin's like this, like he's supposed to be this like criminal he's picking up that's like, you know, this rich like scam artist or whatever, but then he's actually this like kind of mild mannered like very into psychology and like wants to help Jack in a way, and like he's supposed to be like that kind of like, I don't know why you're acting this way, Jack, you know, kind of thing. And
Yeah,
Jack's just like,
he
shut up,
kind of
man.
like you almost can't tell a lot of time if he's playing like mind games and trying to like mess with De Niro, or if he's actually like interested in De Niro's life, because he gets into like asking about his family, his ex-wife, and his daughter, and you know, all this stuff.
So having that kind of character, so now in this alternate universe or whatever, this prequel, I'm going to call it, another Midnight Run, more to come later, is Jeffrey Tambor. And then there's a woman as well, played by Kathy Moriarty, this, which is Jeffrey Tambor's like sidekick, or they're sidekicks to each other.
I found her. I know we don't usually go into this kind of, you know, smutty talk, but I found her like oddly attractive. Am I crazy?
I don't think that's odd.
She's like got this like weird, like, I don't even like sultriness. There's something about her.
You're
And I'm
right.
like, man, there's something
Definitely,
there.
yeah.
I think her character
that's
is kind
fair.
of like supposed to be like that some of the time
Like
in the
a
movie. 'Cause,
seductive,
yeah, she's
supposed
like
to
kind
say,
of like
yeah.
buddying up to Jack, and you get the sense she's trying to like manipulate him a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. So, but
But
okay,
I mean, it would work on me, is what I'm saying.
nice. Well, I'll maybe you and your wife can have that conversation next time we have to record a podcast.
I'm just saying she's more attractive than Jeffrey Tambor is. So it's an interesting pairing, them being married.
So I want to talk about Jeffrey Tambor, and he like, you know, he's kind of been, I think he's been canceled, right? I mean,
It seems that way, yeah.
yeah. But no one is a substitute for Charles Grodin, but I don't know. I feel like he pulls off that same feel, at least. Like, I feel like of this whole movie, the best things about this movie, which is there's not much, is Jeffrey Tambor and Kathy Moriarty. I think I enjoyed them somewhat.
I did too. I think that they were, for what this movie was, they were pretty good. And basically the entire movie becomes, okay, they're going to escape from Jack. How is it going to happen this time? And then how's he going to go back and find them again? It happens like a bunch of times.
Right.
So it's just kind of like this cat and mouse thing, basically, is all it turns into. But it is fun because they have an interesting relationship with one another. They're a married couple, but then the way they interact with Jack is they're like kind of playing games and trying to trick him, but the other times it seems like they're actually all kind of bonding. So it's got some moments that work pretty well in that regard. And Jeffrey Tambor, I know he's canceled, but I do find him pretty entertaining typically.
Yeah. No, there's another character we're not talking about in the original. This guy named Marvin, who is a competing bounty hunter who's always trying to get against Jack Walsh. And in the original, he's played by John Ashton, who is another
John Ashton Kutcher. Yes, John Ashton
Kutcher, who's another really great character actor.
It's in Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay, sure, yeah.
The first two.
And in this one, it's the Marvin character is played by this guy Edo Ross, who I did not recognize, but I am now seeing that he played Itchy in Dick Tracy and Lieutenant Touchdown in Full Metal Jacket.
Which one was Itchy? I love the movie. I love that movie, Dick Tracy, because it came out when I was 9, and I thought it was really cool. And I hadn't seen it for a long time until I watched it again about a year or so ago. But I don't remember Itchy.
So Itchy.
When I hear Itchy, all I can think of is Itchy and Scratchy.
Sure, of course.
Oh, Itchy. He's the one with the big mallet, and he hits people on the head, and then he'll pull their tongue out and fly up to the moon and tie it around the moon.
Yeah, that sounds like Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
But he's horrible. I don't know. The Marvin in this is horrible.
Marvin in the first one's good.
Yeah, but in this they give him nothing to do.
Right.
By the way, really quick, I just want to say this movie has alternate titles. If you'd like to hear them.
I would love to hear them.
Okay, so Midnight Run 2, Another Midnight Run. That's what it was called in the United Kingdom.
That's not even freaking trying at all. And Midnight Run 2, Another Midnight Run. All right.
And in Germany, it was called Midnight Run, Cash Comes at Midnight.
What?
I like that.
But what does that even? That doesn't. Well,
it's a reference.
He has to get him back by the midnight to get his money. I guess. Okay, whatever.
So,
can we just talk about that for a second?
Sure.
This movie, when he has to get these two back by a certain time, like you said, to get the money.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And he gets them back, spoiler alert, but he gets them back at the end, but he just brings them to the bail bondsman's office. Like, they don't go to, like, a police station or a...
Right.
Like, or a court or anything like that. I'm like, is that how that's not how that works in real life, is it? They don't bring them back to the bail bondsman's, like, dirty office downtown.
I have no idea if any of this is something that happens.
Well, I mean, there are bounty hunters. That's a thing. One of them's named Dog.
Yeah.
I know that.
Another canceled.
Is he canceled? Oh, no. Is he canceled? What happened?
Yeah. Can you guess? He's a...
I mean, if I look at him, he looks like he's like the God's perfect, example of something that should be canceled, just the way he looks. But I don't want to, judge people's looks. I don't want to body shame Dog the Bounty Hunter. So I don't know what happened with him.
I'll give you a clue. He judges other people's looks.
Oh, okay. That's interesting that he does that.
And he uses specific words for it.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I'll look it up later.
One specific word, but anyways.
Okay.
That's all. There's only a couple things that really get you canceled, and this is at the top of the list, I think.
So he doesn't. He makes fun of brunettes. Then is
unless
that
you're
what you're
a country
saying?
Star, yeah.
Or he makes fun of people that have short legs.
Yeah, it was ginger. He used the word ginger to make fun of red hair.
We have to bleep that out, dude. We'll get canceled.
Can we talk about the soundtrack to this?
Sure. Yeah, that's always in your wheelhouse, isn't it?
Yeah. So the soundtrack to the first one, Danny Elfman. I mean, come on, right? You can't beat a good Danny Elfman thing. Except have you seen what's happened to him lately?
Have you seen Danny Elfman in the last 2 years?
Recently. I did just recently, but I don't remember what.
He
looks like Carrot Top now, doesn't he?
No, he's like super like tatted up, I believe, and like dark. He wears like he's almost like goth looking or something, and it's crazy weird.
Yes, he's tatted up. He has big muscles and long red hair. He's Carrot Top.
It's very strange. But anyway,
so he does this, but it's not the Danny Elfman of Tim
Burton, yeah.
Tim Burton sound. It's the Danny Elfman plays the blues sound. So everything is just kind of like every 80s action movie except Fletch. No,
I like that song. That gets stuck in my head.
No, this is like more smart.
I don't recognize this at all.
Now this is from the first one, right? So now the second one they switch it up. It's not Danny Elfman style. It's Another Midnight Run. It's like jazz. It's like I don't know, action jazz or something.
Action jazz.
It's like the perfect example of why this movie is so bad and why it fails. It's like every like replacement for what was in the original is a
Worse
version.
version.
Yes, a worse version of what was there already.
There's also just not like there's not a lot of moments that stick in my mind about like what happens that I'm like, oh, remember this moment? Like there's a lot of those in the first one that I think are really great.
Because this movie is obsessed with the will he won't he point, like you know, there's no like character building. So my guess is that since this is these are essentially TV pilots, you know, which their hope is that eventually Midnight Run would actually become a TV show.
Which
that
I don't know how that would have worked at all, but
well, that's the thing. Like, if he's a bounty hunter hunting people every week, you don't want to spend too much time building character between Christopher McDonald and Jeffrey Tambor and Kathy Moriarty. You know, you're like, that's one and done. And then whoever is in, you know, let's see, Runaround. It's I don't know who he's going against. Eddie Musk. So it's, yeah. I honestly I don't know who the people are because I haven't seen it. But you know, like you don't want to build too much time there. So like, it's I think the format is what ruined this.
well, yeah, they don't spend any time developing him as a character at all. You find out more about these two criminals that he's chasing than you do about him. You just find out his American Express card bounces like a basketball. And
Well, and that's the problem is like, I think that's the thing. Like, there's not enough, maybe like, I don't understand. Like, was Midnight Run that big that 6 years later people would have been going, my God, it's time for a Midnight Run renaissance?
well, they probably just thought this is like a thing where we can have high action and we can have a lot of like guest stars coming in. It's almost
And
like
we
it
don't
was
have to
like
pay
it was like a
for the
it was like
rights.
it was like a bounty hunters version of like Quantum Leap or something. Where it's like a new situation every week, new people that can come in for an episode or a couple episodes, and he's the only like mainstay that sticks around really. Him and probably like whoever, Eddie Moscone, the bail bondsman.
Yeah.
That's my
So I
guess
guess-
is like that's the appeal. And there are shows that have worked like that.
So here's my question. How many years has it been since 1994?
28?
Yeah.
28.
So by the way, before I propose what I'm about to propose, you should know that there is actually a sequel, like a proper sequel to the movie
Being
announced.
developed supposedly.
It was announced last year.
It was like
with De Niro.
Regina what's her
Regina
face?
Hall.
Yeah, I wanted to say Regina King. That's not right.
Yeah.
Regina Hall. Yeah. And who knows
So-
if that will actually happen or not, but
Right. With De Niro attached to producer. So let's just say that movie happens. So now we have 5 Midnight Run movies. Why are we not getting rid of the Fast and Furious ride at Universal and replacing it with a Midnight Run ride?
what would that look like?
It would just be probably the same thing as the Fast and the Furious, except, you know, you're in a car with Jack Walsh. Or I
and
guess
Marvin
Regina Hall.
Dorfler is chasing you. I don't know what the
and-
ride is like, so you'd have to fill me in on what that experience is. But
And
I like what you're saying. I think what you're saying is great. And
then as you come in, there's always music to each land, you know, each little area. So the music as you walk through would be like, Fast
Man,
and
that
the
was
Furious.
good. That was really good.
Thank you. Fast and the Furious is the worst ride. I mean, that's not fair. There are worse rides at Universal, but Fast and the Furious is the worst brand new ride, which means there's no chance it's getting taken out, and it's only been there a couple years, and it's a ride that you can walk on.
I heard the
which is
Jimmy Fallon ride is
insane.
bad.
Oh my gosh. Another
Is it
brand
bad?
new ride, another ride that you can walk on that just came
Yeah,
out
so
a few years
is
ago.
Jimmy Fallon worse than Fast and the Furious? At least the Fast and the Furious
Oh my
feels like
gosh.
something that should be a ride.
You
I've
have
never seen
now
any of those
just-
movies, but it feels like it's an action movie. It's got cars and all that.
You know when people are like, they're like you're like, oh, what's your favorite thing? And you say like, oh, they're all my babies.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've now asked me which one of my babies I have to abort.
But you've already said you don't like either one of them.
I know that's what I'm saying though. I'm going to abort all of these babies, but I have
Oh,
to choose
okay.
one of them.
Which one do you want to abort?
I have to choose
That's
one to keep
grotesquely.
alive. I have to choose one to keep alive.
Oh, it's the
So I
backwards
guess-
situation.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. So I guess I'm keeping Fast and Furious alive.
There you go. See,
That's
I
how
found
bad
something.
Jimmy
You said it
Fallon's
was the
is.
worst, and then I found something immediately that was worse. The last time I was at Universal Studios in Orlando was the year that the Terminator 2. It wasn't like a ride. It was like a live, like stage thing.
Well, you're
Is
going to
the
be
year
gutted.
that opened, which was
You're gonna be
probably
gutted.
94 or something like that, maybe.
Yep, you're going to be gutted.
What, is it
They
gone?
they just got rid of it.
They
like a few
already
years
took it
ago.
away?
and they replaced it with.
It's only
a
been
Jason,
30 years.
They replaced it with a Jason Bourne live action show.
Oh. I guess that makes sense.
It does, but again, another walk on. They're like Universal is like really great at introducing really crappy rides, but then also introducing like.
You should write ads for them.
But then also like introducing like okay, so like if they put something in Harry Potter, it's gonna be amazing. If they put something, where the Twister show used to be, it's probably not gonna be as good.
Twister show? It was literally
Yeah.
like, what was it? Like a filmed thing?
It was a show where Helen Hunt, who's in those movies?
Mm-hmm. Helen Hunt.
Helen Hunt and
Paxton.
Bill Paxton, where they
And don't say those movies. I think it's just one.
that movie where they tell you about
Twister. Another Twister.
yeah
Twist for your life.
Cash wind comes at
Cyclone
midnight.
comes at midnight.
So it's they like tell you about like Bill Paxton comes and he's like, hey, Twisters, there ain't no joke. I'm doing a Bill Paxton. I'm giving him a southern accent. I don't know why, but
He's like,
You know,
like this.
they do a lot of
Hey,
damage.
Hey,
Right, Helen?
Twisters ain't nothing to mess with. All right, that's closer, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's like
I
I'm
forget what he-
the sleazy guy who's having an affair with Schwarzenegger's wife and True Lies.
Okay. I always get
I'm
him
being
mixed
Bill
up with,
Paxton right now. I've been looking for Titanic for 40 years.
Okay. I think
That's
that
him.
works. I get him mixed up with Mark Harmon for some reason.
Mark Harmon's alive. That's how I would
know,
tell them
that's my
apart.
problem. Yeah. Yeah.
Paxton
but
is
yeah,
dead, and he's partying in the afterlife with Joey Pants.
He Twister, they introduce it, and then you go into this little area where they simulate what it would be like to be standing underneath a porch while a Twister's happening.
Underneath a porch.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Woo!
And they took that gem out and they put in Jimmy Fallon, where he plays a little girl, that little girl character
What?
that is just so funny.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Where he's like, "Oh my god,
Oh, like the brace face kind of like the like it's like almost like his version of the what is that meme? The
oh
ghost,
Irma Gerd, yeah.
ghost, yeah.
Gershburn.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
What am I trying to
know
say?
what?
Goosebumps.
Gershburn.
Gershburn. Oh my god. That one, yeah.
Yeah. I cannot like one of my biggest pet peeves in comedy is when an adult does a plays like a young kid, like a young girl or something, and they do it that way, where it's like, you're so grody. Ah! I actually wrote.
What are other
sketches.
examples of that? Can you even think of other examples?
Well, I mean, that's happened a lot on Saturday Night Live for sure. But I did. I actually wrote sketches for this sketch group in Columbus.
Bragger.
I forget where they were. They were in some theater there, and I wrote this
Mad
sketch.
Lab.
Yes, that's where it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sending in a sketch where there was a kid in it, and I remember telling the person, please do not play this character like that. And
they're like,
I watched.
We're comedians in Columbus, Ohio. We're gonna play it like that, just so you know.
Yeah. Sorry, dude.
Think about the way somebody would do it at like a summer camp. That's what we're gonna do.
And I watched that movie. I watched a live video of it, and I sent an email saying, hey, I don't think I'm gonna write anymore.
I specifically instructed you not to
And
ruin my work.
I literally said that. I was like, it just looks like it's not gonna work out.
Oh my god. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you nailed it. It's summer camp character.
Yeah. It's like
Anyways.
the same. It's that, and like the guy is playing like a surfer dude, and he's like, oh, totally, we're gonna like. It's just they're all just like stock like.
Here, let's do a scene right now. I'm gonna be that girl, and you be a surfer dude, and we're
We need a
let's see,
suggestion from the crowd.
Yeah. So we're brother and sister, and I'm trying to talk to my friend on the phone, and you come in. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm gonna. Okay. So here we go. I'll start. Oh my gosh, Sarah! You'll never believe what happened.
Hey, Tabitha!
Oh,
What's going on?
That's my brother. Hold on, Sarah. My brother just came in. Oh my god! Get out of here! You're so gross.
Are you talking to Sarah? She's so hot, man. Tell
Oh my
her I
gosh,
said what's up. Tell her.
Oh, I will not, Sarah. I'm gonna have to call you back. Okay.
You need to say gag me with a spoon.
Gag me with a fork. I will
Oh, tell her I'm totally tubular. I'm now just morphing into a Ninja Turtle. That was good. Do you think SNL's taking writing submissions?
I think we need to do a scene at the end of every episode now.
I mean, I'm not totally convinced by what we just did there that we should do that ever again. But
or are you going to send me an email saying you're not doing the show anymore? After
say, I'm going to write that word out that you said. I don't think I'm going to be on that anymore. I heard there's people at Mad Lab that have a spot open for me, so I'm going to use my time for that.
Okay, great. Listen, there's not much more to say about this. Just ignore this. Watch Midnight Run. If you want to watch this, it's on YouTube. Where you can buy it on DVD. But there's no point to it. There are freaking 3 of these. If you are like really excited about the Midnight Run universe, you can go for it. But yeah, I mean, did you have any feelings about this as being a super fan of Midnight Run? Did you feel like, well, I'll cut this some slack since I love Midnight Run so much? Or were you like, no, this ruined my childhood?
No, I wasn't angry about it because I wasn't expecting it to be great. I just thought that I said this earlier a little bit, but like there's a lot of moments in Midnight Run that I think are really, really funny scenes and very quotable. Mm-hmm. Like example, when they're really hard up for money and they go
Colin,
into the
before
bar.
You go on, Colin, I'm not going to let you turn our show into a show about Midnight Run.
It's already happened.
So just get that out of your mind.
All right. Then let me circle back and I'll just be more concise. There's just nothing about this that sticks in my mind. How's that? The one thing about it that I did distinctly not like is there's a really cheap thing that whoever wrote this did, which is this married couple has this like helper guy that they will like call in to like run interference or to like pull scams on Jack so that they can like escape.
His name is
I can't remember his name in the movie, but
I'll tell you right now.
He's like in it throughout,
Lester Weems.
Yeah,
Lester
he's in
Weems.
it throughout the whole movie, and he just pops up, and like he always seems to know where like Jack Walsh and these two fugitives are, which he shouldn't. It's not like he has like GPS tracking on there, but he can always find them. He always runs in and does the right thing to like help them. We never understand who he is really.
I mean, that's true of Jack Walsh too. The amount of times he stumbles onto them, or freaking even Marvin. I mean, I guess at least give it.
It's something you have. Yes, you have to do that in order to continue the movie, or else it's just like, oh, I lost them. I guess I'm gonna go back home now. But
I'll pay my bills the old-fashioned way.
It felt very cheap that like there's this like extra like utility player just hanging out there, and he can just pop into every scene to help them escape. When it was like, that doesn't make any sense. So it's not the biggest issue in the world, but that was the one thing that I was like, okay, they should like level off on how much they're leaning on that as a plot device basically.
It's like I always say and have always said, Colin, is we could all use a Lester Weems, our own Lester Weems in our lives, don't you think so?
Is that why you've always said that?
I've always said.
Oh my God, I didn't even piece that together. Yeah, you do say that. You even have that shirt that says it. And it's totally tubular, man.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So I'd say,
all right, well, thank you for
Midnight Run fans, feel free to watch this, but don't have high expectations. There you go.
No. And when you dream, I'm gonna give a good send off tonight, okay? But before we do that, let me I know I just gave you a little taste, by the way, before I cut myself off. But I will give you a great send off. But first, please, thank you for listening, and please go to networkspecialpodcast.com. Check out our Facebook group. It's not really a group. It just tells you when new episodes come out. And you can see our Instagram,
our Facebook group,
and our TikTok, by the way, is blowing up,
exploding.
Please come join our TikTok. We have 1,100 followers, and I only follow 2 people. That's a pretty good ratio.
Who are the 2? Is it you?
Me, my personal one, and then I think there was one. Actually, I'll tell you right now. If you just have to know.
I do have to know.
Oh. Hold on. How do you do that? Oh, view profile.
Oh, this is riveting. We're really...
Listen, you know what? It might be my wife's.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I thought it was going to be like Weird Al or something like that.
No. It may also be there's a chance that it is a TikTok for the Mickey Mouse Club.
If I had to guess, Nathan, I would say it's going to be some comedian that some people know about, but not everybody. Or it's going to be a page about Detroit-style pizza, or Disney, or something like that.
I made sure that this...
Or New Jack Swing.
I should go in and follow more people, but I made sure that I only followed either me or the hosts of the show, or guests of the show, or accounts dedicated to the same subject,
Yes.
And that's why I would have followed the Mickey Mouse one, because we did an episode on that version of the Mickey Mouse.
All right.
But anyway, so please go to our TikTok, join in the fun. We got over 100 comments on one of them from the jerk. Oh, it's beautiful.
Naven.
And yeah, that's actually the clip too. You just started the clip. And so anyways, yeah, give us a review on your favorite podcasting place, 5 stars only. And as we say at the end of every show, Amen. Thank you, Lord. And I forget what we say.
We
What's that prayer?
say, let go and let God.
Let go and let God. And but I want to have a different kind of send off tonight, and that's may your dreams be filled with Robert De Niro as the Tom Hanks character in Big.
Oh God, nightmares. All right.
Bye.
Goodbye.